Hybrid is just non-weight bearing. Standing squat is weak.
Oh, yeah. So I have a question of you, James. Thank
Yes.
you, Joel. So, and I'm a shorty, so that may be why I almost always get my hands around the buttocks in order to encourage that versus hanging onto the belt. What are we, either way, are hanging onto the belts fine here because they're just weak?
I usually get the hips.
So show me.
How much?
Now let's see what you do and what I do, and then.
Well, I can see.
One of the
Shoot that.
tab is put it higher.
I'm not worried about the belt.
Oh,
Okay,
I
we're gonna
just wanna
scoot
know
forward.
the hand placement options other than just the belt.
I want you to shimmy one hip forward.
Okay, good. That's what I do too. So when you're going for, when you're
Well, it
going,
depends on the patient too.
right. But if they're weak, and right now, you know,
We're gonna, yeah, I would prefer just hip by hip.
okay. So for the scooting forward, put your hands on the hip. The belt is on there. The belt's ready for things if you need it. But put your hands on the hip to scoot the butt, to cue them. Give them the physical cue to move their butt forward. Because that's part of the training process. And once they know how to scoot forward, then you don't have to give them all the physical cues and stuff. They're gonna do it. So, so
Because some people don't have the arm strength to do this at all.
right.
So they have the ability to do this because that's
Right.
more.
Right. So does that make sense to you guys when you're doing that one? Some of these wheelchairs are going to be snug for some of us, okay? But get your hands back in there in the hips and try to work them forward, cueing them the physical left, right. You don't have to do them both at the same time. It takes more work to move both of your hips forward at one time than it does to do one side and then the other.
Okay.
Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
So that's what you want to do, is you want to do that little scoop forward, one side and then the other. And you only have to do it maybe, you know, 2 times on each side, and that gets them up far enough. Okay?
Can I see
Yes.
James cue him, or did he just actually do it?
James just cued him, I think.
Yeah.
I
Well, no, you cued him and
I'd like to see the body mechanics
he cued him and he
of you
assisted
on
him.
doing
He
that.
wasn't doing it for him.
On scooting their butts.
Did my back? I don't know. My back was straight.
I don't know,
Go back.
because I get dinged for my back when I'm practicing, so.
So we're gonna scoot forward. And we're gonna do shimmy. I use the word shimmy. I don't know.
That's fine. I have no problem with that. Shimmy's good.
We're gonna do your left hip first. Okay.
Okay. And so you do have to crouch.
Oh, yeah, you have to crouch every time you do something with somebody in a wheelchair.
So I'm actually grabbing the side here.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Generally, are they wearing pants or are they wearing a smock?
Usually people wear pants anymore. You have some ladies that will wear a dress, but usually they wear pants. And even with the dress, you can still get around the hips, and you're cueing the hips. If the hips don't move, then you can look at, you know, helping with the belt or something. But if the hips aren't moving, if the butt's not moving, it's probably going to be a 2-person to get them forward. You know. So get your hands on the hips or the buttocks, and then just wiggle. You know, shimmy the butt forward, wiggle the butt forward. You know, 1, 2, 1, 2, and you should be pretty close to the edge of the chair.
So don't necessarily use the gate belt then for that?
I don't usually do that.
Okay.
No, but you
Would you
need
get
the
marked
gate belt
now?
for the stand, so, you know, if it just is part of the prep, this
Okay.
is what we're gonna do. You have the great belt on. You have the gate belt on at that time, and it's ready to go.
Okay, so I want you to position him ready for the transfer. Remember that?
Yeah. So Rob, I'm gonna position your feet just a bit. I'm gonna move this one back, and I'm gonna slightly put this one forward. So I'm gonna basically partially stand you up, and we're both gonna bend our knees, and we're gonna maintain that position. But make sure you don't put weight on your.
He can put weight on his legs this time, honey.
Can he? Okay.
Yeah, but it's only that slide board that he's non-weight bearing.
So we're gonna forward squat, and we're just gonna turn your back towards the bed, and once you feel it, I'm gonna sit you down slowly.
Okay. Correct. In this case, with the edge of it to the wheelchair, of course he reaches for the armrest. Of course, this doesn't have an armrest, so he has to reach for the bed. Okay. You can do the squat pivot.
Would you have the armrest on that one then?
No, he's
No,
going
'cause
back
you
to
don't-
bed. There's no
Yeah, you're going
armrest.
back to bed, and his butt will get the armrest. So you're stopping his butt from getting the armrest.
Yeah, we took out the armrest.
Okay.
Go ahead and place this hand on the bed. Use that for support. And I'm gonna lean forward just a bit. I want to scoot the wheelchair back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm gonna lock my knees with your knees, and we're both gonna squat, and I'm gonna turn your back towards the bed.
Okay.
Can you lean forward? So at the count of 3, we're both gonna squat. 1, 2, 3. Can you scoot back?
How was that?
That was
Nice
perfect
job.
to
That was
me, yeah.
Nice
That was
job.
good. Yeah.
Go ahead and breathe. Go ahead and breathe.
Go back in.
Nice, Joel.
Any questions about that?
That was that
Squat,
squat.
bend.
Or sit pivot?
Wheelchair to bed.
Squat, sit, bend. Yep, yep. Okay.
Stand pivot is basically he's going
You
to push
stand
up.
up